Hozy has a simple premise. No timers, no pressure, no penalties. Just you, your tools, and rooms waiting to come to life again. But don't be fooled, there is a lot happening beneath all that calm. Small mechanical and physical details make all the difference. I spent a good amount of time breaking down this game to bring you 10 advanced tips that will make your Hozy experience completely different. I'm Mary, and the video is about to start. If you've ever tried to place furniture in a room and it just wouldn't snap into place for no apparent reason, you can bet there's a pixel of dirt hidden in some corner sabotaging you. Hozy seems relaxing, and it is, but it has a cleaning system that requires a bit more method than most people realize at first. I learned this the hard way after redecorating the same room 3 times in a row without understanding what was wrong. The key here is to think of cleaning in layers, as if you were preparing a canvas before painting. Before touching any furniture or decorative objects, head to the floor and walls and mentally divide the space into sections. Don't try to clean the whole environment at once, because that creates gaps in the process and you end up missing dirt in corners and edges. The order matters a lot. Always start by picking up large trash with your hands. After that, move on to dust and fine dirt. Only then should you use the mop. This sequence exists for a reason. If you use the mop before removing coarse dirt, you basically push residue around the space instead of eliminating it. Then the game still considers that area dirty, blocking item placement. The result, when you do this right, is surprisingly satisfying. There's nothing more frustrating than planning a perfect layout only to see the furniture refuse to fit because of an invisible detail. Treat the cleaning phase with the same attention you give to decoration, and the game will flow in a much more organic way. Hozy rewards those who have patience with this process, and the visual difference is real. One of the first things you should do when entering a new level is open all the windows before anything else. It sounds simple, but most people ignore this and start cleaning in the dark without even realizing how much natural lighting changes the in-game experience. Dark houses hide details, make it harder to read the space, and cause you to waste time looking for dirt that would be obvious with more light. With the windows open, the entire environment takes on a different character. Light pours in, rooms become more vibrant, and you can see the grime, forgotten corners, and architectural details of the space with much more clarity. This speeds up your cleaning process in a way you wouldn't expect, because you're no longer working in the dark trying to guess what needs attention. But there's a benefit that goes beyond functionality: aesthetics. If you like to record the progress of your transformation with before and after photos inside the game, natural light makes a huge difference in those images. The before photo with that harsh light and the abandoned environment creates a much more impactful contrast with the final decorated and lit result. It's a small detail, but it greatly elevates the sense of achievement. Think of windows as part of your entry ritual for every level. Enter the map, open the windows. Only then do you start working. Hozy is a game about transformation and creating beautiful spaces, so it makes total sense for light to be part of that equation from the start. One thing that will save you a lot of headaches is learning to switch between the paint roller and the repair kit quickly and intelligently. These two tools work together, and knowing how to alternate between them without losing your rhythm is what separates those who finish a room efficiently from those who keep going back to fix the same spot multiple times. The more fluid this swap is, the more you stay in the flow state that the game proposes. But the most important point here goes beyond switching speed. You need to finish 100% of the wall painting before placing anything against them. Shelves, paintings, mirrors, everything comes later. It sounds obvious when put that way, but in the excitement of seeing the room take shape, it's very easy to start decorating too early, and then you find yourself moving everything again to reach a patch of wall that was left without paint. This mistake creates a silent domino effect. You move a shelf, paint the covered section, but now you have an edge with a slightly different tone because the paint overlapped layers in the wrong places. The visual result ends up being inconsistent, and what should be a beautiful environment starts to look rushed. Hozy is a game that values finishing touches, so every second invested in doing the wall the right way before moving forward is worth it. Treat painting as a closed phase, separate from decoration. Walls first, objects later. When you finally start positioning furniture and decorative items over finished walls, the experience is completely different, cleaner, more satisfying, and without that nervousness of building on top of something incomplete. You know that moment when you place a sofa, think it looks good, but something feels slightly off and you can't identify what? Most of the time, the problem is the angle. In Hozy, you can rotate any piece of furniture with the mouse wheel while holding the object, and this completely changes how you think about the positioning of each piece within the room. The detail that makes this mechanic so powerful is that nothing is permanently locked. You can let go of the furniture, see how it interacts with the surrounding space, and adjust it again as many times as you want. This takes the pressure off making the right decision on the first try, which is exactly the trap that many people give up on a layout before finding what actually works. With this system in mind, the invitation is for you to experiment with angles you wouldn't normally consider. A table slightly diagonal, a bed rotated to create a different sense of depth, an armchair in a corner at 45 degrees. Sometimes the crazy layout you tested out of curiosity ends up being exactly what the room needed to look more natural and lived in. Hozy doesn't punish you for experimenting, so there's no reason to play in conservative mode. Use the mouse wheel as a creative tool, not just a technical correction. The best rooms in the game usually weren't planned, they were discovered through trials that no one expected to work. One of the most surprising things you discover is that you can change the wall color in the middle of painting without needing to start from scratch. Each level offers between 2 and 3 palette options, and all you need to do is click on another color while you still have the roller in hand. The game switches automatically and you continue from where you left off, only with a different color applied from that point forward. This seems like a small detail, but in practice, it's a huge creative tool. How many times have you painted an entire wall, looked at the result, and thought the color was good but not great? With this system, you don't have to accept your first choice or undo everything to test another option. You experiment live and see how the colors behave within the actual space before making any final decisions. The most interesting use of this mechanic is testing combinations you wouldn't normally try. A main wall in one tone, an accent wall in another, creating that accent wall effect that works so well in real interior design projects. Hozy simulates this in a surprisingly intuitive way, and exploring these combinations is part of what makes the game so satisfying to play. Don't be afraid to mix things up during the process. The game was designed to let you experiment without punishment, and painting is perhaps the element where this is most evident. Test combinations before committing to one, because the right color in the right environment completely transforms the feel of the finished room. Hozy offers you pre-made furniture sets, and it's tempting to follow these bundles from start to finish because they seem cohesive and safe. But if you want to create environments that truly feel like yours, the secret lies in ignoring the sets and starting to mix pieces from different collections. It's exactly at this moment that the game shows what it's capable of, and where your personality as a player really starts to shine. Ready-made sets exist as a starting point, not a rule. A bed from one collection with a dresser from another, a coffee table that doesn't officially match the sofa but visually works perfectly, a chair with a different style that breaks the room's uniformity in a way that feels intentional. This is the real language of decoration, and Hozy understands this better than most games in the genre. What makes this mixing so satisfying is that the result never feels generic. When you finish a room made of pieces from different collections, That space has its own identity that a pre-assembled set can never deliver. You look at the environment and recognize your choices in every detail, and that feeling is exactly the heart of the experience Hozy wants to create. So next time you're decorating, open all the available collections and treat each piece as an individual. Don't think about this set matches that one. Think about how each specific object behaves within the space you are building. The best environments in the game always come from those who had the courage to break rules that never needed to exist. There's a level of lighting control that I simply didn't discover at first, because it seems like the lights are just decorative. But after a while, I realized you can interact with switches, lamps, and individual fixtures using the right click. And when you notice this for the first time, your whole way of thinking about the final decoration changes. Light stops being a background detail and becomes a creative tool as important as any piece of furniture. The idea of working with layers of light is what transforms a well-decorated room into an environment with real personality. Instead of lighting everything uniformly, you can leave certain areas darker and direct attention to exactly what you want to highlight: a shelf with collectibles, a wall with art, a cozy reading corner. This is the difference between a space that looks like a showroom and one that feels inhabited. The game responds to these lighting choices in a visually satisfying way because the shadows and contrasts created by individual lamps interact with surrounding objects and surfaces. A floor lamp next to an armchair creates a completely different atmosphere than a fully lit ceiling, even if the furniture is exactly the same. It's the same principle interior designers use in the real world, and Hozy captures this surprisingly well. So before considering a room finished, go through each light source individually and think about what you want it to do for the space. Turn some on, turn others off, test combinations. The decoration you spent time building deserves lighting that does justice to every detail, and this control exists exactly for that. Large furniture and painted walls grab attention, but what really makes a room feel complete are the small objects carefully positioned on tables, shelves, and windowsills. And the detail that separates a generic environment from one that looks like it's out of a magazine is the precision of that positioning. That's where zoom comes in, and when you start using it for real, you realize you are finishing your rooms in a rush without even knowing it. With zoom, combined with camera rotation, you can align small objects with a precision that simply isn't possible in the standard view. A book slightly crooked on a shelf, a vase that isn't centered on the table, a plant on the windowsill that is 2 pixels to the left. These details seem irrelevant from afar, but up close, they create that feeling that something is slightly wrong without you being able to identify why. The expression lived-in home describes exactly what you are looking for with this level of care. It's not about sterile perfection, it's about intentional positioning that conveys that every corner of that space was thought out. When smaller objects are well-aligned and well-distributed, the environment gains a visual depth that large furniture alone can never deliver. Reserve the final minutes of each room specifically for this stage. Zoom in, rotate the camera, calmly adjust each small item. It's the most meditative phase of the game, and paradoxically, the one that most impacts the final result. When you zoom out and see the complete room after this precision work, the difference will be immediate and very satisfying. Larger levels can feel overwhelming at first. You enter a house full of messy rooms, don't know where to start, and end up jumping from one room to another without finishing anything. The result is that nothing seems to progress, the mess remains visible everywhere, and that relaxing feeling the game should bring vanishes completely. The solution is simpler than it seems. One room at a time from start to finish. The sequence is always the same. Complete cleaning, then painting, then decoration. You don't move to the next stage until the previous one is 100% completed in that space, and you don't change rooms until the current one is finished. This discipline creates a work rhythm that the game rewards almost immediately, because you start to see complete transformations happening instead of half progress scattered throughout the house. The psychological benefit of this is real and makes a difference in the experience. When you finish an entire room and move to the next, carrying the visual memory of a space that is already beautiful and organized, the motivation to continue increases naturally. It's visible progress functioning as fuel, and Hozy was clearly designed to generate the sense of incremental achievement throughout the larger levels. Think of each room as an independent project within a larger project. By entering this mindset, the longest levels stop feeling like an impossible mountain and turn into a sequence of smaller victories that build up to the final result. And when you finish the last room and walk through the entire transformed house, that decision to work methodically will have been worth every second. At some point while playing Hozy, you might feel a strange urge to finish quickly, to optimize every movement, to be efficient. It's almost automatic, because most games train you to think that way. But Hozy has no timers, no scores, no penalties for taking your time. Absolutely nothing pressures you to finish fast. And when you truly internalize that, the experience moves to another level. The most advanced tip that exists in this game isn't about cleaning techniques or decoration order. It's about permission. Permission to go slow, to hear the sound of the broom on the floor, to see the paint gradually covering a dirty wall, to adjust a small object on a shelf for no other reason than feeling it looks exactly right. This tactile and visual satisfaction is the primary product Hozy is selling, and rushing through it is missing the central point of the game. There's a reason why this genre of game is often compared to ASMR. Every action has a sonic and visual weight calculated to be pleasant in itself, not as a means to an end. The wet mop on the floor, the paint roller sliding across the wall, the click of a piece of furniture snapping into place, these moments exist to be savored, and the game has infinite patience to wait for you to do so. So the next time you open Hozy, try a session without any progress goals. Enter a room and simply work on it at your own pace, feeling every detail. You'll realize the game becomes more beautiful when you stop playing to finish and start playing to just be there.